entrepreneurial progress. Each of you, the participants, represents a unique vision for the future and for the commitment for nurturing, turning innovative ideas into practical solutions, which is truly commendable. Our sponsors not only provide the financial backing that makes this competition feasible, but they also bring a wealth of knowledge, experience, and resources to the table. Through their mentorship, guidance, and industry connections, they contribute significantly to the growth and development of the participants. Their support extends beyond this event, it extends to the broader journey of entrepreneurship where they continue to inspire and empower us all. But it's not just about the sponsors, it's about the entire ecosystem that surrounds us. This ecosystem includes our esteemed judges, mentors, and advisors who bring their expertise to help participants refine their ideas, navigate the challenging models of entrepreneurship. It includes our academic institutions like GETAM, which provide the education and research platforms necessary for innovation to thrive. It encompasses government initiatives like Smart India, which are dedicated to creating a conducive environment for entrepreneurship to flourish nationwide. In the grand tapestry of our nation, entrepreneurship is a thread that weaves economic growth, social development, and technological progress. It's a force that propels us forward, driving change and creating opportunities for all. In line with the vision of Startup India and the ethos of Northeastern University, we believe that entrepreneurship should not merely be a buzzword, but a way of life. It's about embracing challenges, taking calculated risks, and daring to dream big. Throughout this competition, you will not only present your ideas, but also engage with like-minded individuals, mentors, industry experts who share your passion for innovation. You will have the chance to learn, collaborate, and refine your concepts under the guidance of experienced professionals. Our esteemed panel of judges, experts in various fields, will evaluate your projects and pitches not only on their potential for commercial success, but also on their capacity to create a positive impact on the society. We value entrepreneurship that is not only profitable but also socially responsible. I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all those who have contributed to making this event possible, to our collaborators, Startup India, Northeastern University, thank you for believing in the power of entrepreneurship and education. To our participants, thank you for your dedication, hard work, and passion. And our audience, thank you for being here to witness and support the future of entrepreneurship in our nation. As we embark on this exciting journey of innovation and creativity, let us remember that entrepreneurship is not just about winning or losing, it's about the lessons we learn, the connections we make, and the impact we create. So I praise each and every one of you to give your best, to learn from each experiences, and to grow as entrepreneurs and individuals. Once again, a warm welcome to the Student Startup Pitching Competition. May the next few days be filled with inspiration, collaboration, and innovation. Together, let us set the stage for a brighter, more entrepreneurial future for our nation. And thank you and wish you the best of luck.
Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sri Samsivar, Deputy Director of Faculty Engineer, Chandrasekhar, Controllers, Chief Innovation Officer Krish, Nair, Siddharth Kumar, Dr. Sridevi. It's wonderful to be here in front of all these hours and kind of thinking through what is the right message to give, right? What is the theme for this young crowd? This 10-15 minutes I spend on stage, what are the right things to say? After thinking through, of course, there is startups. We have already talked about the stages of startup, how we build companies. What I thought would be relevant is to actually talk about building blocks. Right? Some fundamental building blocks that are applicable, that young people can use to their future. Right? Again, no specific on what are those skills. I mean, there are a ton of skills that we can go on to talk about. But I picked a few. These are 4 to be exact. I wanted to talk about curiosity, courage, character, and communication. Right? Again, there's a lot more on the list, but that will take a lot more time. So let me talk about curiosity first. When I mean curiosity, it means learning, right? It's continuous learning. We live in an ever-changing world. What is today is irrelevant tomorrow. We live in a fast-evolving world. The only constant is change, right? You've heard of this before. The only constant is change. So the way to stay relevant, the way to survive, the way to thrive is to learn and adapt. Also, when I say learning, I mean relevant learning. We live in an information age. There is a lot of knowledge, a lot of content, a lot of data around, right? So we have to make sure that we're focused. So all this information is advantage, but also a disadvantage if you don't know how to use it properly. So in learning, right? I often see startups and people. What I see, there is a common theme between people that learn things quickly, adapt quickly. I see that people that actually learn from a wide variety of things have an advantage. Right? So cross learning is very, very, very critical. Learning from diverse fields is very, very critical. I think if you are getting a degree in a specific area, I don't think you should limit yourselves to that. Whether it's music or arts, or I don't know if you're physics, if you're in biology, etc. Right? So please make sure that you increase that breadth, because these things are going to be very, very, very important as we move ahead. Right? Cross-connecting things, connecting those dots is going to be very critical as you grow. Knowledge adds and compounds, so please focus on that. The second theme I thought was courage. Again, courage, I was kind of looking through the definition. Courage is not the absence of fear. Right? Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is when you have fear, but you realize that there is something more important than fear. Despite having that fear, moving ahead, that is courage. Again, I often see a lot of people very, very, very risk averse these days. Right? I mean, I do that mistake with my kids. Everybody's overprotected. We kind of, most of the kids coming out now have an umbrella or a shadow over them. Right? So there are a lot of choices we make in our everyday life. Being somewhere that consciously, unconsciously, we make about 35,000 decisions every single day, right? So I think having the courage to decide is a superpower. Having the courage to move ahead is a superpower. And I see a lot of great minds that can decipher big problems, think through and analyze complex situations, but that they are not good decision makers. Please get uncomfortable to be wrong. We are humans after all. Please make sure sometimes it is more important to move in the right direction, to take a decision and move forward than kind of overthink things. Decision making is a muscle. Like you go to the gym, I think the more you exercise that decision making muscle, the stronger you become. Believe me, that's going to make a big difference with wherever you are. Courage gives you freedom, and that's the only way to move forward. The third thing on my list was character. I also kind of merged it with culture. Right? Again, as an individual, working in a company, leading a company, building a company, I think building the right character is very, very, very important. If you don't define your company's character and culture, an outsider or somebody outside will define it for you, which is not ideal. So please write down those basic things, and it could be different for different people or different organizations. So write it down, make sure that you know what you're working for, what you represent. Basic things like respecting your colleagues, actively listening, giving people independence are very, very important. Long-term thinking, delayed gratification. These are all subjects that I can talk to for the whole day. I think there is a big problem with people wanting more in the moment, right then and there. I think that is something again we should practice, which is delayed gratification. These are again important skills that will help you in the future. Me again, we see hundreds of companies, thousands of companies, and people coming through pitching to us. I've seen it with me, colleagues in the companies that were the easiest way to grow and prosper, is to be kind, be polite, be generous, and be considerate. Right? It makes sense for two reasons. I'm not talking from a philosophical or an ethics point of view. Of course, it makes sense to be kind, but even from a financial point of view, right? It makes a lot of sense. I'm talking selfishly. So many instances, right, whether it's not just your people sitting on top of the pyramid, we're so interconnected, right? You don't realize how much interdependency there is. So I think it's very, very important to be kind. It's very, very important to be polite and considerate. It's the cheapest thing you can do, it's the easiest thing you can do, but it goes a long way. Right? And the last theme I had was communication. This is by far my favorite. I see a lot of people that are very, very smart. I was popular in class, but a lot of times they come up with great ideas. If you're not able to communicate, it means nothing. Some of the greatest founders, some of the greatest investors, some of the greatest people that you see in magazines and the Fortune 500, right? They have one thing in common. They're all good storytellers. Right? So make sure that you practice this. I like to, I'm sure a lot of you have heard about Warren Buffett. He went to Columbia, and while he was actually in Columbia, he took a course that his boss did, because he said that it profoundly changed him, right? Not his Ivy League degree, but $100 certification he get from their family. Again, that's a good book. It's a very old classic, how to influence and influence people. So if you haven't read it, I highly recommend that you do. Again, communication, right? Some people are born with it. This is something that you can definitely learn and improve on. The only way you get better at this is to practice, practice, and practice. In fact, I'm practicing that now, standing in front of you. It's like riding a bicycle, learning to swim. You cannot do that without actually getting, you cannot ride a bicycle by reading a book. You cannot swim by reading a book. You have to jump in on that seat. You have to fall down, get up, dust it off, and move on. Right? That's the only way to learn. So please focus on these basic little things. Please join those classes, whether it's art of communication or another field, etc. Cross connect things. I thought I'd keep it short. I think myself, within 10 minutes. But I also work in healthcare, right? As she said, I am the chairman of Hyderabad. More importantly, what really moves me and what I'm passionate about is healthcare. I thought I'd give an example. I work in cancer, right? There are two sets of doctors we see, right? Two sets. One is a brilliant doctor in the field of medicine. They're perfect with their knowledge, they're good with what they do, they can kind of figure out what's going on with the patient, etc. Come from great institutes. The second is a doctor who's a healthcare provider, right? The difference between them is this. Right? One is treating a disease, right? The other is treating a patient. I I want you to think about this. Treating a disease versus treating a patient is very, very different. So you may have the best of qualifications, you may have the best of technical expertise, but a personalized approach in your field makes all the difference. Let me also end by, with an Albert Einstein quote: "The true sign of intelligence is knowledge, not knowledge, imagination." I'll repeat it. The true sign of intelligence is not knowledge, but imagination. So I hope you gained something from this 10 minutes. I surely did. It's wonderful to be in front of all of you. Whenever I sat in these meetings or talks 25 years ago, I remember very little, but I hope you do. The times are different. Thank you very much for having me here. It's a pleasure. Thank you. It's brilliant that there are about 1,000 people that actually applied. A few that have been selected. This is a wonderful, wonderful thing. I congratulate Peter University for making this happen, and I wish to continue this in the future.
Actually, I'm very happy that we are all here for supporting this small idea on along with our Chennai 3. One more news is there, that is Pragnananda. Just played was reached we are all required for this kind of youngsters. You're all young. You should be there and always the limelight. That is what is required. This section is much harder and much faster than before. I won't again explain because it's key. I think breakthroughs. There are 6 ways we brought in this innovation. First wave, second wave, third wave, fourth wave, fifth wave, sixth wave. And the 6th wave where we have the climate challenges and clean tech to reshape the business models and consumption patterns. Again, these 6 waves are explained here, where it started from water power play to the digital transformation. The social innovations of it, you are told about that is what climate change, mitigation, health, quality, and clean water. About these innovations nowadays, the research are going on. Breaking conventions and reinventing our lives. You would have seen that the SpaceX by Elon Musk, then Tesla electric cars, which has changed the whole automation industry, and the CRISPR, where the gene change can be done. The COVID-19 vaccines, where the vaccines actually where the innovations have come, like Meta and the Moderna. And how the Indian those breakthroughs are there along with solar power technology, where our continuous data centers also is there in that. Then along with that you have generative AI and you have 3D printing, then you know this Uber, how they are come up in the market, like growth and buying plants. Innovations and places have done. Timeless innovations in the 21st century, that is about the smartphones which have come and they have changed the whole. There are a lot of, I think, innovations have come in the 21st century. Where you can have a look at that. innovations are being transformed into the industry now. You know technology, actually you know about technology, you're not there in technology, you know about these innovations. Okay? And we know the artificial intelligence which has started the market now, that has shaped the whole world. I think everybody knows about ChatGPT contract. Then the latest thing is space and data centers where we tell about edge computing. Data center innovations now, the edge computing is there where the small data centers can be made. Then you come up with a lot of modular data centers we have. Then hybrid multi-cloud data centers we have. Then we have optical, again networking also is there. Then quantum computing is set. There are data center and analytics is happening in the data center industry. So a lot of data center innovations are from in which countless data centers that we take up. Think about the people to whom inspiring statements start from Steve Jobs is there, Elon Musk, these are the people who have brought innovations into the world. Short-term focus, the regulatory barriers, the rapid technological changes, bureaucracy, lack of innovation culture, cultural barriers, market uncertainty, intellectual property issues, then sustainability issues, competition, siloed thinking, and environmental concerns. These are all the potential roadblocks for the global cloud computing market now, where you have external clouds, then external incumbent, 120 billion go to in 2028. Yes, this is about my company, that is the Catalyze Data Centers, which was founded in 2008, and it is Asia's largest data center and serving 20 of Fortune MNCs. It is a service provider that has than 15 data centers across the country and locations and 1.2 million area. Then we have got 4 companies along with us, that is Cloud4C, which actually we go into Cloud4C. It is actually founded in 2014, and we serve all the hyperscalers like the Google Cloud, AWS, Azure, OCI, all these hyperscalers, we serve them. And we are into cloud, that is private cloud, public cloud, hybrid cloud. Along with, we are the premium partners to SAP. A lot of freshers, they join us in Cloud4C. And the second is Apple, where the data center industry, we do all the data center analytics, data center audits, everything we do. That buying e-labs, which is actually, I can say, where we take information from 15,000 customers, which is very important for you and which is interesting to you. It's called Regulatory Innovations, which was founded in 2019, where the automation product platforms, we take care portfolio, and we are into artificial intelligence operations and health sector of AI and ML. Because I'm one of the members for Hyderabad Central University, where I'm representing Hyderabad Central University for the UNESCO program that is called Artificial Intelligence on Cybersecurity. I'm representing already, I've addressed all the European professors in recent conference. There is the Dean of Milan University has chaired in my program. So we are into artificial intelligence, and we with the latest technologies that our crowdsourcing and our medical company where we serve, or we are giving those solutions. You can call it even the RPA, robotic process automation. We are there in levels, and we there for all the AI tools. We are doing it. Then, all the I can say how the company has come from 2003 to 2030 and now where we are. So our company's data centers, we have 3,000 employees, and we are giving service to from our crowdsourcing different countries all over the world. He is young, energetic, my CEO, Mr. He is the pilot for data centers, and he is now we are becoming world's largest data center in the world. And he has got 200 innovations under his belt for data centers. So such a great vision we have for our organization. He supports all the employees, he is with us, and he wants that to ship whatever is available in data center or automation, he wants us to do that. And he funds us whatever certification you want to do in the organization, he is there for us. Each and every certification, like I show, what you call it, we are there. Such a wonderful personality we have with our organization. Areas we have. And we give network services, we give actually disaster recovery as a service, DCP, and we give the security operator, that's called Cyber Defense Center. I am the cyber security mentor for the organization because I already am the master trainer for NASCOM, where I taught all the IT professors in universities like Mumbai University, Shivaji University, and for Vellore Institute of Technology, Pune University, and other universities. So we take all the sessions in which we take the spectrum of services of our controllers, data centers. And now I think everybody knows about IoT. You have any idea? Do you have any idea about iOS? The latest buzzword. It's not Internet of Things, it is the Internet of Senses, where you will feel the technology, whatever is happening. So, audiovisual, whatever technology is there. So, Internet of Senses is going to play a vital role in the future. I think by 2030, we'll get all those that technology in the future. So these are all our partners for controllers, or we are into banking and finance, we are into technology, all because we have plus, and we are serving them. We have about 4,000 clients all over the world, and we are serving them. This is actually how we create the value. And what I've seen here, the kingdom has got its own values like diversity, inclusion, and same area of our own values like disruption, and we are going into compassion. So both are actually, I think advantages, actually this is we have the innovation, we are coming up with sustainable green energy with 1,000 acres of solar plants. We are coming up and we are going to give them products in the future. That is, we are going to develop this power plant. And the largest rated DC company is ours, and the total ownership is there. And we have that, we call it I4, that means 10 power. Uninterruptible power to view all the operations where they keep us. And going to bandwidth services and networking services, giving information corporations. And we have a lot of awards. And we have a great place to work. So you can think of as a professional, we are open. We are tell you when you come to work. This is again like making true zero waste because it is one of the innovations that is happening. Climate changes or health care or there are buzzwords as of date. So I request all the students to be aware, update themselves into latest technological things like AI, mobile computing, cloud computing, quantum computing, which is going to come in future. That's really important for all students to come up and do some innovations in those areas where you will get a lot of benefit. These are all the existing pieces we have. Locations. These are all the more into data centers we call them. And this is the solar panels covered all over the building. This structure was built within 140 days. It's a record. And also the speed of design and the drive construction solar panels. So we give importance to sustainability first. We have zero incidents. We have million spending on CSR activities. And we want Global 60 awards. And these are all the Cloud 4C, our Cloud 4C customers. This is the visionary. This is the global footprint and the industry's first banking cloud we have, that is BFSI sector. These are all again our all SAP customers we have. And this is the vertical cloud offerings, hybrid cloud delivery. Then it's a big slide, so I'm just going fast. So we have a multi-cloud, application-focused, automation-led, and mission-critical and cyber-security defense center we have. This is about our company, and it's a great opportunity for our controllers giving us, and all the participants, all the competitors who are already, I think, today, I think, semi-finals. And I wish everybody, wish them all the best. And from controllers, we are always there to help the students as well as the university. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the opportunity given to me.
We are lucky to have the beacons of Startup World India amongst us today, who will be taking part in a panel discussion. Just imagine, all of them coming together onto one stage and sharing their wisdom.
We would like to invite Dr. Sushmita Sundar, Head of Life Sciences, RICH. RICH is our ecosystem partner. Dr. Sundar, Head of Life Sciences, RICH, is a health tech and ed tech researcher and innovation enthusiast, and also happens to be a specialist in life sciences and management generalist with a passion for entrepreneurship.
We would also like to invite Ms. Srujana Chadalavada, Director, Strategy and Partnerships, WeHub. WeHub is our ecosystem partner. A graduate from IIT Madras, Ms. Srujana started her career as a business analyst at Dell Global Analytics and then moved to Quickwell, a startup acquired by Practo. She was instrumental in launching Quickwell in Hyderabad. Currently, she's working as a director for the strategy and business development with WeHub, an initiative by the Telangana government.
We would also like to invite Mr. Dhruv Gupta, COO ITIC Hyderabad, who is our ecosystem partner, from researcher to entrepreneur, and now an innovation management consultant. He has earned the Gandhi and Young Technology Innovator Award in 2016 at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. He was hosted by the late President Shri Pranab Mukherjee.
We would like to invite Mr. Suresh Krishna, AVP, ISB Programs and Partnerships. He leads the innovation and entrepreneurship programs curated for startups at various stages at ISB.
So it's just about noon, so good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this panel of very eminent experts. I know that maybe the teams that are going to pitch this afternoon are not going to be fully engaged because they're worrying about their presentations. Nevertheless, we'll try to make it short, exciting and useful to you. You heard a lot about what we are doing, what this event is about, and why we are doing it. I think we want to explore a little bit more of the why. That's why we said let's have a discussion on how and why is it important to set up a kind of a pre-startup or pre-incubation and incubation ecosystem in higher education institutions. Yeah, we all are aware of the conventional degrees and the conventional paths that we go to for our careers, whether it's becoming a doctor, an engineer, or whatever. But what we have consciously introduced here in Geetam, and I think there are lots of other places where this happens, is an additional career track where you can become an entrepreneur, bring your dreams to life yourself, not rely on many other people. And doing that, not only are you doing something for yourself, you're doing something for society, and you're creating jobs. So I think that's a very attractive proposition. I know there are a lot of challenges with people, and we'll discuss some of those in terms of how do you convince your parents, how do you deal with the uncertainties, the risks, the problems that happen. So they are all there, but how do we encourage this kind of an ecosystem? One of the things that we have said at Geetam and through our Venture Development Center and the courses we run is that we are not teaching you how to become an entrepreneur. We are teaching you the skills that will allow you to do whatever you like, whatever you wish, and do it well. Okay, so please keep that in mind. So as a result, when we started the Venture Development Center, we have an undergraduate course on personal discovery through entrepreneurship that is mandatory to everybody who enters the university. So in the last 3 years, I think we have trained close to 19,000 students. And that's something that helps us get, it's a very rich source for our pre-incubation activities where students come in with their ideas. So before I go on any further, let me start off by asking you your as an introduction, your views on why it is important, or do you feel it is important to have this kind of an ecosystem, and how do you see it developing from your own experiences, whether it's something that you got into this ecosystem by accident, or is it something that was planned? So I'll start, right? Sushmita, you could...
Yeah, my personal experience for entrepreneurship definitely started off by accident, not by choice. But I'm glad that I took that journey, and definitely it started off from a higher educational institution. So I kind of envision an higher educational institution being able to give you the launch pad in making your career choices. So it all started way back when I was doing PhD at NUS, National University of Singapore, as enthusiast researcher, where all my lifetime was spent in the lab doing research. There were phases of the time in the lab when I was pretty empty because my cells were growing, taking their own sweet time to grow in the lab. So that's when I decided, let me go explore the different part of the higher education, which was the management side or the business side. And thankfully, I had a course which could give me that launch pad. So we had a Singapore-Stanford biodesign program happening in the university, which was a mix of group of people from engineering, management, sciences, medical. So 4 students from the multidisciplinary group were made to form a team, tackle a solution, tackle a need of a clinician, and develop a product for that. So that's where my first glimpses of a biodesign design thinking began. And then that's when I realized there are so many needs which the users face that needs to be met by designers, by the business world. And that's where the journey of entrepreneurship in some ways began. Then by the final year of my PhD, I came to a program called Launchpad, where we started interacting with different VCs for funding, angels for funding. And during my 4 years of PhD, parallelly doing research, I kind of experimented with the management world. So as unpredicted as it could be, in the final year, there was a fire accident in the lab. And all the research that I did for 3.5 years came to a standstill. The last 8 months was only spent on doing theses, writing the theses, but I couldn't publish well, partly because all my samples were gone. But serendipity was that I had a parallel line which was going on into entrepreneurship and management. So it definitely helps when an educational institution gives you the choice, gives you the freedom or the encouragement to experiment, try new things. By design, there are programs where the students can explore. And as it has been from last 7 years, I'm in this innovation and entrepreneurship space. And I totally understand, especially for life sciences and the healthcare startups, it's a long journey. The gestation is quite long. The pieces that you accumulate in your education helps you to make the puzzle complete. You need to find the right team, you need to have the right knowledge, you need to find the right market need that you want to address, you need to understand the process for it to be entering into the marketplace. All this takes long, and if you can cover half of that during while you are studying in a risk-free environment, then you are in a good position after a couple of years to launch it. So my encouragement to you all as well is experiment as much as you can. Try, if you can do many multidisciplinary activities, you will definitely be able to excel in your, at least quench your curiosity in terms of understanding what entrepreneurship is all about. So yes, I definitely agree it's necessary.
Okay, that's great.
So entrepreneurship and students, right? I'll tell you I'll start off with a small story. I was one of the first hires of the startup called Quickwell. Very first, as in I was the 5th person into the company. That includes the cleaning lady and the, And the product was ready, we've tested it, everything was sorted. Quickwell is an appointment management system and a queue management system for hospitals, healthcare service providers. So we had to get people downloading the app and start booking appointments through us. Right? Market penetration, huge challenge at the point in time, because there is no market validation. No hospital has already signed up with us, and if we had to, medical representatives have spoiled the entire system rotten by giving freebies to everybody, every doctor. They wouldn't sign up until we give them something. And we were a startup, right? Struggling with funds at the point. This was pre-Series A, and we had one doctor sign up with us who said, I will not pay you anything, but you can do my queue management system in the hospital. So we were literally standing outside, and people entering into the hospital, we were like, sir, appointment nahi hai, to humse book kara do at 1 rupee. You will get immediate access to the doctor, you will not have to wait in the hospital, right? This kind of a challenge was there because we did not have a system that was backing us at that point in time. We literally had to go sell appointments for 1 rupee, right? But right now, imagine the same situation if I was a Geetam student and I had to have some hospital validate my product. It is very easy because Geetam Incubation Center chief would have probably connected you to the hospital to experiment your product on, right? a platform is much needed because at some point in time, your muscle or your brain is not just enough for market penetration. And incubation centers today are much, much, much needed because at that point in time, any support is massive. And let me tell you one more thing. When a startup needs money, 10 rupees is the exact same as when you don't need money as 100 rupees at that point in time. The right time, right kind of help is very, very, very much needed. And the incubation centers, be it college incubation centers, be it non-academic or plain business incubation centers, provide you that particular platform. And please utilize all of them. Thank you.
Please.
Okay, so I think I have a completely opposite story. I'm here because my institutions doesn't supported me. So I started my first startup when I was 18 in 2008. And I was not liking the way I was being taught, and I didn't like the ecosystem in my institute. And everybody likes money. I like money more. I'm a pure capitalist, I can say. So I started, that time people used to find people to format their computers. So I started formatting computers for people. I started making basic HTML websites for them, and that's how the first startup Fuzon Doubleworks started. Okay, we were doing smaller IoT solutions and all, and we made decent amount of money in first year, lost decent amount of money in second year, then we thought, okay, let's shut it down. That's the first entrepreneurial stint I had, because I was not liking how I've been taught in the college. Okay, so that's how it started. Second one started because I did a lot of research during my master's and I realized it's going nowhere. There has to be an actual use case for the market for it. I figured out 2 more junior students with me. We started this company. We did a great technology, pathetic product. The award they were talking about was for that same company, which didn't made a single rupee. Okay. So I still remember the day. I was sitting with the late Pranab Mukherjee on the dinner table. He asked me, how's the business going? I said, it's going fine. While I'd already shut down the company 6 days back. So on 10th of March, I shut down the company. On 16th of March, I got this award in the Rashtrapati Bhavan, and I'm talking like, yes, it is going good. Okay, so those days comes. Third one worked out well. I sold it off to a North American company. So what I'll say is, it's not that you cannot do it without an ecosystem. But this ecosystem is going to accelerate you. I was fortunate enough that my parents allowed me to do all these things with my life. How many of your parents will allow you to do something without earning a single rupee for next 5 years? It's not easy. Entrepreneurship is not easy. I think if you are in third year, you're already in pressure from your parents, what is going to happen with your placements. I'm pretty sure that your management is already under pressure, what we are going to do with the final year graduates this year. How we are going to get placements for them. The world is brutal. So this platform, what even Geetam has with the name VDC, they are also representing some similar platforms. They just help you. They give you a safety net. They let you try what you cannot try after graduating in these initial years itself. That is very much required. So if you have dreams, if you want to make, one thing Sir missed out was about money. He talked about creating jobs. He tried about fulfilling your dreams and everything. One thing he didn't talk about is money and the adrenaline rush you get. When you build something with your own hands, when somebody say like, yes, I need this, I'm going to pay you for this, that feeling you're not going to get in any other format. Whatever else you do, you'll not get that feeling. When you just make a small thing, you're sitting across the table with somebody and say, look, this thing can solve your problem and I'll charge you 2 crores for this. It recently happened with one of our startups. We were negotiating a deal, and this guy was said, last year, I had not even thought that I will ever hear that somebody is going to write a check of 2 crores for me. Think of that feeling. That is what this platform can lead you to. Okay? Thank you.
Suresh.
Right. So I think the question posed by Sir was, how did you get into where you are or what you're doing today? So I consider my career as a startup again because I've been investing in it from the time I got introduced to the idea of entrepreneurship. Immediately after I finished my master's from UK, I came back to India and I was just wondering, what next? Abhi parents bole hai ki you have to do computer science, ye, wo, you have to get a great job and stuff. So to make them happy, we did that. But once I came back, I was looking at exploring things. I was open for everything. I was not like, yeah, mujhe nahi jana hai wo, the same old IT stuff where I don't want to get stuck. So I was exploring things. I had this mindset for exploring what could be the future or what I can add some value somewhere in a different manner. And that's when I stumbled across one of my friends working in an incubator. And he said, Suresh, I think you should give this a chance because with the way you think about things, this could be something where you can share your expertise with students or individuals, ideators who are ready to do something. Right? It can be very helpful and you will also enjoy the drive. So I was thinking whether to go the usual path of the IT world or should I myself explore into a different venue or different thing, because entrepreneurship 15 years back was not as big as it is today. 15 years back, people didn't know what startup is. People didn't know what entrepreneurship in the first place is. It was just business. It's not a startup culture. It is not making ideas into business or anything. It's just build something or make money. So I ventured into it. I took the chance because I found potential in this. There was a huge future to it because the way the policies at that time were coming out, how the government was thinking, and how our country's demographic dividend was going to build over the next 10, 15 years. So I had these conversations with a lot of my peers, my friends at that time, in various incubators or institutions, and what do you think about this? I want to give it a try. And I took the jump, and for the last 15 years, I've been from time to time reevaluating and improvising or looking at how I can, contribute myself in a better manner through different institutions or different partnerships for the benefit of entrepreneurship. So it has been successful. And why I said it itself is a startup is you start with exploring. You don't want to go the usual way, the path that is already laid out. And I see all the students that have come here today, shortlisted for semifinals, as such, because you're not going in the usual path, do the studies, prepare for interviews, get jobs. You're trying to build something, you're trying to do something different. So, and that's what I was at that point of time, exploring new things, trying to build something different. It was not for somebody else, but for my own self. I don't want to, get into something usual. I want to do something different. I want to be different. So you have chosen that path, and it's not easy. Entrepreneurship, all agree, is not easy. It's a tough path, but I think the end results, if you focus on it, are going to be certainly worthwhile, and you are going to motivate furthermore, because the youth The entrepreneurs that I see in you guys are the future of a country, as our earlier speakers or chief guests have mentioned. So, point institutions, the higher education institutions, are very important. They play the most important role in entrepreneurship if we have to achieve the goals of what the government or what the country is looking forward to. Because we as incubators may not be able to completely do everything from the scratch. The institutions should work as a breeding ground for ideators, ideas, or the basic validations that can come out. And once they are prepared for jumping into entrepreneurship, we as incubators are all there to support them to scale further, right? So going by the topic, right, I was just wondering while I was driving here today, it's a very interesting topic because what Geetham VDC is doing is exactly that, building a student-centric entrepreneurship ecosystem. And they have already put in place something that kind of defines how it should be. And it kind of spells out the core elements of what a proper student-centric ecosystem could be or should be. So I think we are here merely to see what progress is happening and how we can contribute to the further growth or in our whichever bit possible.
As you've heard, there are different paths, I guess, to get into the entrepreneurship domain, whether it's serendipity or the fact that you didn't get the right support system, whether it's the adrenaline rush plus the fact that, and that was a very important point you made about this providing, academic institutions providing a protected environment where people can actually take risks rather than going out and spending your money or even somebody else's money. And then, like Suresh said, having the dream to actually succeed. So if you look back on your journey, is there something that you could talk about, saying that if this had been there when I was doing my education, things would have been much different? I know the environment is different. Now there is a lot more focus on entrepreneurship and startups, but how do we encourage our students? Now, I talked about 18,000 plus students having done the entrepreneurship course. Barely, well, less than 1% or even less than that are actually wanting to do or set up any businesses. How do we get them to become more progressive in that? Is there anything we can do, and how do we fit? It's a three-part question, I guess. How do we fit into the larger ecosystem as an educational institution? Because do you measure success by the fact that there are so many startups that have come out of the education institute, or is there some other measure? Who would like to start out?
So I'll spill some beans here. So I was a BTech student from Geetham. 2004 to 2008 batch, Geetham Vizag. That's where I did my BTech Biotechnology. If you ask me what I would want back then at Geetham that I would have leveraged, is we had mechanical engineering department, civil engineering department, ECE, dental college at that time. Wish I had the courage to walk into their places and see what is happening there. Wish I had the courage to just go talk to them and ask, what's your problem that you want me to solve? We were very siloed in our thinking, but I'm glad that right now the silos are breaking down. Colleges by design are getting into multidisciplinary courses, electives where students can go into different departments and explore. I come from biotech, and we used to joke that we are jack of all trades and master of none. In some ways, that was a blessing in disguise because we learned thermodynamics, we learned heat transfer, mass transfer, name it, we learn all those things. And that helped to understand the problems from various angles. A lot of time, things, for instance, the problem that we were solving in Singapore for one of the eye surgeon, the solution came from the automotive industry, the reverse backing system, where you get the sound when the cars back or the two-wheelers back. That solution, we tried deploying it while doing retina eye surgery. So a lot of time it is the multidisciplinary ways of solving problems which requires a multidisciplinary team. So that's something which I would encourage. Like in Geetham, we had a BMAS canteen, but we always used to hang only our class. We had hostel where also again we used to hang out with our friends. So wish now even the medical school can open up doors for the engineers to walk in and see. Indigenization of medical devices is the way. I encourage the college to do certain programs in that scale. And on the question of whether, should number of entrepreneurs be the metrics, I don't agree to that, because especially if you see, I'll talk to life sciences vertical, you are in a space where it is heavily dominated by entrenched incumbents, where the startups will not even understand the technology. So for the startups, especially trying to bring healthcare problems, I would say developing the entrepreneurial mindset is important at the college level, and let the startup or the student or the team of the students who have the desire to solve the problem choose a career path, say go into an industry, go into a healthcare facility, become a biomedical engineer in a hospital or a company, join as a sales team, BD team. Make the team in college, but go explore the world and then come back and solve the problem. That would be something, and for that you definitely need the mindset to be developed in the college. I just got to interact with a couple of students. They said they are childhood friends who have become a team to solve the problem. So you never know when those combination of people that you make, how you can solve the big problem. So that's one metric. I would differ, it's the number of startups, but it's the mindset that you can cultivate. How you track it depends on the strength of the alumni network that you can build on. Yeah, so that's it from my end.
I hope our VDC coaches are listening. It's not just numbers.
Sir, with your permission, I would like to answer it slightly differently. I did have an incubation center in my college. I've been in the college from 2007 to 11. And the idea of entrepreneurship, when it's inculcated at that age, just to say it makes a lot of difference. From the time I was in college to the time I've graduated, there are a lot of ideas that went. We had this center called CFI, Center for Innovation, and some of the startups have turned unicorn, at least 5 to name, people who have studied there, and some of them are celebrities today. One of them is a chief guest. So Dhruva, Skyroot Aerospace, Bharat is my batchmate in the college. His idea for entrepreneurship started then. You have Medibuddy, which is a unicorn today. You have Swiggy, that is a unicorn today. Funnication, again, is a batchmate of mine. Then we have Hasura, which is IT-based unicorn, again came out of CFI. And this is just Vinita Singh, Sugar Cosmetics, who's also a celebrity today. So these are the output of the right entrepreneurial mindset at the right age. So these was all 7 to 12. Cut to 2021, you have all of these unicorns today amongst us, right? So it is the right mindset, risk appetite, and the right support system at that point in time. Maybe 10 years later, this is the result that we are seeing. And today we are having an incubation ecosystem in Geetham. Maybe 10 years down the line, somebody from here will be going and talking about so many unicorns that came out of Geetham, right? And this is just the 5 unicorns are the big ones I'm talking about. There are also people like me where my company was sold at 90 crores in 2016. There are infinite number of people like this who also came out of an incubation ecosystem that was built in 2007. So Yes, sir, absolutely. So, what you do is, I think you are not having the baggage right now of responsibilities or anything. You're just a free mind today with a lot of possibility, right? And at this point in time, if you start off looking for solutions to the world problems, not creating problems like NFTs probably that tank, but actually identifying the right problems and creating solutions for them. Start building it today, be persistent, keep at it, and there's a lot of potential for you. Thank you, that's me.
Okay, so this is not just coming from like what I learned from studies, this is coming more from the experiences I had. So one thing which I observed is to be a successful entrepreneur, the most important thing is ruthlessness. You have to be ruthless. If you've decided to do something, you have to do it by any way. That's the only way to do it. And I think academic institutions doesn't encourage ruthlessness. There's one question I'm posing, but academic institutions doesn't encourage that. You say, I want to do this. Academic institution will put 5 constraints first. Okay, these are the constraints. Now tell me, will you be able to do it? They're not even following this. What they say, this cannot be done because these are the constraints. I just wish if my educational institution would have changed the language and told me, yes, you can do this, but make sure that it is within these constraints. Make the problem to me even more challenging. That is one thing. Second is, actually nobody told me till my 2 failures that technology is not the product. Technology is not a company. Technology is less than 10% of the company. That is something which I think every engineering college or every engineering student is missing on. Third, the problems you have are not the problems of the world. Like all the developing countries say the same for Europe, that the problems European has are not the problems of the world. The same thing. आपको अपने कैंटीन का खाना पसंद नहीं है, इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि वो एक प्रॉब्लम है और वो सॉल्व करने के लिए कोई आपको पैसा देगा, नहीं होता है ऐसा. Okay, you have to go out, you have to see people have already solved the problems, and giving a solution for cheap is not. This is a thing we learned later, that cost and price are 2 very different concepts. They should not be compared. These are different things, but yes, 3 things. First, ruthlessness. You have to be ruthless. We all would have seen that video of Steve talking about how he gave a call to Packard for a single chip. Packard was the co-founder of HP, much larger giant of the time. He was just a 14-year-old kid. He gave a call to Packard saying, I need this one chip, can you give it to me? And next summer, he got an internship offer from HP. He was ruthless. He was not shy of asking for things. So you should ask. You should be ruthless. Second, technology is not the product. Third, you should understand that, even I forgot the third, okay. No, so, sorry? Yes. Third is the problem you are solving, you think you are solving, is not the problem worth solving. I'm repeating it again. Problem you are solving, you think you are solving, is not the problem worth solving. You should figure out what is the problem worth solving. Okay. So the second part of the question, how we measure success. As I told you earlier, I'm a capitalist. I measure success by how much money my startups have made. I don't care whether they're unicorns or not. I would like to bet more money on SMEs than unicorns, because valuations are just a number. When I sold off my company, I know what were our valuation, at what value we sold it off, and why we sold it off. A deal is much more emotional in nature than what is there on the paper. Okay? So I measure success by how much money my startups have made. Till now, we have supported 142 companies who have made 1,200 crores in last 1 year. Last financial year, the revenue was 1,200 crores. That's how I measure my success. So I think these were the two major questions. Or
more about how do you measure the success of an academic institution?
So we are an academic institution. We have our, so you must have seen pure EV scooters on the road. Might be few of them are standing in the parking here. Pure EV was our first investment. Today they are a 3,000 crore company. How many of you hold a 5G phone in your hand? Almost everyone. So every 5G phone in India comes with a chip called Koala. This Koala was made inside IIT Hyderabad, one of a company called Vysig. Okay? So you must have not heard of these companies. So Vysig will never get a name as like they are a unicorn. They are a much larger SME. Same is with Pure EV. So if you see, like why we chose this matrix is because if you see in last 12 to 15 years, how many Fortune 500 companies which were Fortune 500 in 2010 are still Fortune 500? And how many new entrants in Fortune 500 were even existing 10 years back? They're not by valuation, right? So that's why we chose this matrix.
Thank you. Suresh Garu.
Right. Now, the 2 points. The first one, what I would have loved to have back then, right? I think it's the infrastructure and the guidance, certainly. We didn't have anybody to tell us, ki, this is something you can work on, you can build. The infrastructure and guidance is in the, and again, when you say academic institutions, again, we have tiers in them as well, right? So we are talking about different institutions having different goals and outcomes. So that's for the second part. But then what do you think would have helped back then? So it again depends on the institution level we are talking as well. When I say institution level, the templates to graduation, MBA or other grades, right? So if you talk about the second point, a school which is secondary school has a different success measure. A 10+2 thing has a different measure. An engineering college has a different measure. A business school has a different measure. So it's not that one size fits all. So it comes down to if you are encouraging entrepreneurship, if you are doing something into entrepreneurship, what's the vision of the institution? It comes down to that. A clear vision. What do you want to do with the infrastructure that you're building? What is the outcome? Do you have an outcome? What is the outcome of VDC? If somebody asks you what's the outcome of VDC, do we have a clear, single, crisp line answer key? This is what VDC is here to do. So for me, I'll take example of our own organization. So we have been supporting startups for the past 7-8 years through incubators, but it's not that we've not done that before. But if we take the time that we've done through the incubators, our vision has always been impact on the society. What is the impact that the startups we are supporting are going to make on the society? So if you look at the kind of startups that have come out of ISB, we are talking about Sirona Hygiene, we are talking about Check Renovation, we are talking about Jai Kisan, we are talking about Turbo Hire, we're talking about startups that are creating impact on the ground. It's not just the money, right? It's about what we are creating or solving for the society, how we are making it a better place to live, how we are solving a problem. Money has various shapes or sizes or things to it, but for our institution, that's the vision, ki how the startups we support are going to sustain in the market and create an impact in the market. It's not just making money, but at the same time, we can't rule out the commerciality of the product. If it is really impacting the society and making a mark, it obviously has a commercial component to it. And if you look at that component, again, we have some amazing startups, close to 11 unicorns from the alums of ISB. So that is always there. So it's both things. Money, impact, both go hand in hand. If you are completely looking for a social cause, that's a different story. But if you're trying to build products, if you want to measure the success, every organization has its own path. So we'll have to look at what's the vision, and the success parameter is going to be dependent on the vision.
That's fantastic from all of you. A lot of rich experience and knowledge and, and advice coming. So we'll take 2 short questions from the audience. Maybe students might be interested in asking. This is a good opportunity for you.
Good afternoon, sir. Like, this question is not addressed to anyone specifically, but just a general question. Like, if we look around right now, like, there are a lot of opportunities, but if we can say very less time. Like, personally, I'm a student pursuing Bachelor of Technology in Mechanical Engineering. But when I look around, I find people exploring so many different areas. Let's say somebody's exploring computer sciences, somebody in electronics, somebody's experiencing like quantitative analysis and trades. So it's like when I just try to dive into these things and try to know about a particular field, I just have this feeling that I'm missing out on these things, on every other things. So I'm not able to focus on any single field with all my focus and stuff. So like, what would you like to say in this, that how should I choose a field without the fear of losing in it, that it's not made for me? Like, that's the question.
Who would like to take that?
Which sport do you play?
Sir, table tennis.
Table tennis. That's not a team sport.
Yes, sir, it isn't.
That's why you are having this problem. If you start playing basketball or volleyball, you'll find the solution. That's a problem with Indians. Like, we don't play team sports. We don't understand how to work with others. We don't understand how others work. Okay, because you're a chemical engineering student, right?
Yes, a mechanical engineer.
Mechanical engineer. So whatever is supposed to be done or innovated in mechanical engineering by itself has been done in last 200 years. Now, whatever new will be innovated will be done only with the help of some other stream. Okay, so you can make a new kind of engine only if a metallurgist is working with you. You can improve the efficiency of an engine only if a computer science guy actually gives you a better way of controlling your engine or controlling the fuel, of, I don't know what all. So you need to start understanding how to work with others. You don't need to understand how they are working. तुम्हें कंप्यूटर साइंस सीखने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, तुम्हें ये सीखने की ज़रूरत है एक कंप्यूटर साइंटिस्ट से बात कैसे करते हैं and how to work with them. Okay, I think that's one way of solving the problem.
I see. So like learning to talk to others, like what would be the worst step? Like networking?
No, I'm not saying that.
Okay.
Like, I think Ravi can help you out. He'll make a small team of other engineers with you, give you a problem to solve. Do it, you'll understand how bad it goes. You will be talking about something, your friend with electronics will not even understand what you're talking about. You should understand how you talk, how you communicate, not just talk, like how you communicate. What is your body language? I'd seen this thing, computer scientists or particularly people working with AI, they come from a superiority complex. They say, we are the better engineers. A mechanical engineer will say, no, we are the better engineers. If that happens, it is not going to work. Okay, so you need to first learn. So working in teams doesn't mean you know electronics engineering, you know computer science and everything. Okay, working in teams means you know to respect the other and tell them precisely in their language what you need.
Sushmita, you had to add something quickly.
Let me add it and make it more real to you. This is the problem of first world. Too many choices around. Way back morning when we get up, there is only one breakfast. We are made to eat that breakfast. Now, if you don't want the breakfast, you can do Swiggy, come to canteen, eat, or you can even go for a buffet and eat. This is the problem. So the best solution is you understand when you are forming a team, what is your competitive advantage? Why should the other person stick with you? So find your strength, excel in your strength. If you're not bringing anything on the table, you can be replaced the very next moment. So strategy is not just about coming together and networking. Strategy is also making choices what I am not. In fact, that is a major thing. When you know what I am not, I'll bring and form a team for including all the best competitive advantages. In the end, the startup is a group of people trying to solve a problem. That group of people have to bring in the best competitive advantage of each. So find your complementary teammates, first find yourself, what is your strength? There are a lot of psychometric tests as well. Gallup strength test is one of them, for you to know what you are good at. Excel in that, let your weaknesses be handled by somebody else, but also know how to deal with them. In the end, everything needs to be together. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
Hello everyone, I am Srishma, a second year student of BTech Computer Science. Now, we Indians are very much familiar with the term jugaad. So I would ask you as entrepreneurs, your point of view or your take on this jugaad as an ignition or a kickstarter to many ideas of those startups or unicorn startups in India.
Sujana, would you like to take that?
Yeah, when you say jugaad, we are trying to get a solution for something that is stuck, right? So if jugaad can be both the ways, it's just for solving that, and then the second thing is, do you want to make something out of it? So if you're talking as an entrepreneur, I am talking jugaad is to make money. If you are a problem solver, it's not monetized, you're just trying to solve it and leave it there. So in both the cases, jugaad is idea, the sprouting of an idea, and from that, how do you want to grow it is something that you will have to decide, right? As I said, two things. If that jugaad, you see the solution you have come up with, that jugaad you have made can actually be structured into a business, can be commercialized, is there scope for it? These are all things that follow. Right. If that is the case, yes, jugaad is the starting point of creating an enterprise.
Was it of any one of you guys, did it lead to your eureka moment in your startups?
Yeah, that when I initially started, right, I said my career, like that was a jugaad for me. I saw pain, and although I did masters in managing information systems, I didn't go through that. And I was just looking at what can I do. And there's another choice. This is something you can do. You're bypassing that and still making something happen and creating a career out of it. IT or software was not the only career, right? So jugaad is always something that is going to solve things and make things easier. That's something you can take as a jugaad.
Okay, thank you.
So I'll just put it in more formal words. So in a journey of a startup, okay, it always starts from a problem, right? And the first thing you find is a problem solution fit. Whatever solution you're thinking of, is it solving your problem or not? But that doesn't make an organization. That doesn't make a unicorn or a large venture or something. Okay, from problem solution fit, you always go towards a product solution fit, and then you go towards a product market fit. So jugaad is usually is this problem solution fit. You solved a problem like that, and it works. It is going to work. Just for an example, I think most of you doesn't know, till the date, Flipkart reached 1,000 orders a day. They didn't have an ERP system. They were managing everything manually on Excel sheets. Nobody even realized that it is not an automated system. When you place an order, Benny Bansal used to get an SMS on his phone. And there was one guy who was entering the data into an Excel sheet. And from there, things used to start. To deliver a product, they used to make at least 12 phone calls. Right? From the initiation to the final delivery of the product, 12 phone calls were used to be made. Right? You can say that was a jugaad, but that was a problem solution fit. It was working well. And it was not an optimal solution. To achieve a scale, they needed an ERP system. But they validated their product that way. That what value we are going to ultimately deliver, is it required or not? Okay, so jugaad is not the right word. Okay, it's a solution. It's a solution which works for you. It will work for 10 people. It will fail when you reach 100 or 1,000 for sure. So getting a jugaad is your first step.
But it's never sustained.
But don't depend on it. You have to convert it into a product and then a venture later.
No, if we look at jugaad as a quick fix, then no.
Not a quick
Yeah.
fix is what I meant.
If we look at jugaad as, more often than not, what happens in startups is we hustle, right? Because the resources are limited, the human headcount is limited. Sometimes maybe Binny Batsal did not think of automating it because he was hustling every day, right? And the moment he realizes that he has to build an ERP, all of this previous data has to be entered into a system, all the analytics had to be built from scratch. That's an extra mile of running for him because he probably missed something at the initial point, right? Jugaad is something that we go to, but is it optimal? Not in any way. Is it an extra mile that you have to run to fix it the right way again? Then yes. When you're, for most of the startups that we are engaging with right now, I always insist on one thing. If you're building something, build it right. If it takes 2 extra days, if it takes an extra month, not a problem. But initially only do the right solution for it. Do not go for a quick fix. That usually happens with a lot of tech startups. The moment their order goes up, the moment a lot of our startups, for example, we recently did the show Nenu Superwoman. Suddenly our startups became popular, and when people started hitting their app very often, they've all started crashing. Because initially they adapted a simple hack, Shopify low, build a shopping platform, and then you're starting off, right? The moment more than 10,000 people hit your app, then you're crashing. So jugaad is not something that we would advise anybody to go with. But even if you're adapting to something because your turnaround time is very low, take that, once you have turned around, take that exact time to fix it right. Thank you.
My question was, can it be a kickstart or an ignition if we try to scale up after?
For sure.
It is.
Okay, let me just give 2 examples in this case from the product side, not from the software side. So you all know the jugaad of making Maggie in the kettles, right? We all hostelers do that. But in China, there is a company which has started off that brand of electric heater for making rice and everything, which started coming to India. But it was not there. So it is a jugaad which started, but eventually, as all of them said, it needs to be converted into an innovation and it has to be commercialized. Second example that I wanted to see, good old days, we used to store food under the sand to keep it cool. And you all know this product called Mitti Cool, the very popular frugal innovation example. It didn't stay that way. It has morphed into a very good product which people in rural places can still take it. So tier 2, tier 3 cities are using this. So you need to, it is a kickstart, but definitely it's not gonna be something sustainable. It has to be morphed into a product which can be innovative and be able to capture the market in the right segment in the right way.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the questions, and thank you everyone. It was a really rich discussion, and I hope that you will all contemplate on some of the things they have said and understand and appreciate the whole path of entrepreneurship and innovation. So thank you once again Big round of applause for the panel. And now I will hand it over to our very efficient, very capable MCs.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to MyStartupTV.
India's journey on the Global Innovation Index has been an interesting one. While we proudly stand as the 5th largest economy in the world and the 3rd largest startup ecosystem in the world, our 41st rank on the Innovation Index raises questions. Countries like Switzerland and Sweden are at the top, showcasing the power of innovation. But here's the exciting part. We possess the demographic dividend, that is all of you, and the tech-savvy young population, that is again all of you, giving us an unique edge. It's time we channel this potential into transformative innovation, propelling India to the forefront of global creativity and progress. At Geetham, our mission revolves around sparking the flames of innovation and nurturing the entrepreneurial spirit within students. Geetham Smart Ideathon is a significant step in this direction. Today, we celebrate the 3rd edition of Geetham Smart Ideathon. Geetham Smart Ideathon is a collaborative initiative of Geetham Venture Development Center, Geetham E-Club, Northeastern University Center for Entrepreneurship Education, Northeastern University Center for Emerging Markets, Northeastern University Boston. Through Geetham Smart Ideathon, we are creating an ecosystem that nurtures creativity, encourages risk-taking, celebrates the spirit of entrepreneurship. The response this year has been truly overwhelming, with 1,007 applications pouring in from all corners of the country. After meticulous rounds of shortlisting, we distilled the pool of talented 100 student ideas. These young innovators have undergone rigorous online boot camps and received invaluable mentoring over the last 2 months. Yesterday, 32 exceptional teams battled it out at the semi-finale. Today, 8 finalists are set to pitch their ideas for cash prizes and an exceptional opportunity, a trip to Boston. This trip entails a transformative 2 weeks of mentorship at the Northeastern University, Boston, USA. Today, Geetham Smart Ideathon 2023 is about to reach its pinnacle. Winning team takes home rupees 2 lakhs in cash, plus a fully sponsored trip to Boston for both the founder and co-founder. The runner-up team takes home rupees 1 lakh in cash and a partially sponsored trip to Boston. The best social impact team wins rupees 50K in cash and a fully sponsored trip to Boston. Best women-led team takes home rupees 50,000 cash and a fully sponsored trip to Boston. Popular Choice Award, which all of you will be voting after a few minutes, receives 50,000 in prize money. Mr. Leben Johnson, a dynamic leader and an empathetic soul, laid the foundation of Geetham VDC. His legacy lives on through this last award. These rewards not only celebrate the incredible efforts and innovative ideas of the participants, but also open doors to invaluable opportunities and experiences in Northeastern, in Boston. We at Geetham believe that by nurturing and acknowledging these visionary minds, we contribute to a brighter and more innovative future for our nation. My humble request to all the students in this hall today is keep innovating, keep pushing the boundaries, keep changing the game. Wishing you all the very best. Jai Hind.
Mr. Krish is an accomplished business leader, serial entrepreneur, and an angel investor. As the Chief Innovation Officer at Geetham, he redefines traditional education methods, enhances career services, shapes research and innovation pathways, and cultivates an ecosystem that encourages innovation thinking, risk-taking, and an entrepreneurial problem-solving approach. We request Mr. Krish to address the gathering and share his kind words.
How many of you think that entrepreneurship leads to startups? Okay, what do the rest of you think? Entrepreneurship doesn't lead to startups? Well, I think the answer is both. Entrepreneurship sometimes leads to startups, but the intent of entrepreneurship or learning entrepreneurship and going through entrepreneurship education is not entirely to set up a business. Well, does that sound right? Yes, it does, because what you get in entrepreneurship education is skills that you can use anywhere, not necessarily in starting a business. So the kind of skills that you get thinking outside the box, are building teams, working in teams, speaking fearlessly in front of a large audience, like how you'll see the 8 finalists will pitch to all of you. So these are skills that you acquire when you go through training in entrepreneurship. And these skills are all transferable. They're portable. You can take these skills to a regular job, a corporate job, or any career that you pursue. You need these skills. So when you think about entrepreneurship and venture discovery, or oh, this is not for me, I'm not going to become an entrepreneur, so I don't need this education. That's the wrong way of looking at it. Every one of us needs entrepreneurship education, so we can build our skill base to be better individuals in doing things better, in working with teams, in building not necessarily a company, building a product. You need entrepreneurial skills. So at Geetham, we have taken this conscious decision to embrace entrepreneurship roughly about 3.5 years ago. And we wanted to build an ecosystem. Many universities look at entrepreneurship and measure the effectiveness of entrepreneurship through the number of startups that come out at the other end. And we didn't want to make that mistake. Yes, startups are important. We want all of you, if possible, to build businesses. But that's not the primary intent of introducing entrepreneurship education at Geetham. We want to give you the skills, and through those skills, if you end up starting a business, by all means, yes, we welcome that. We'll give you all the support. Even if you don't want to do that, many times what happens is you come for an education for 4 years or 3 years, whatever program you pursue. But at the end of 4 years, you want a job, or your parents want a job, because whatever reasons, you're not ready for starting a business, taking the risk. So the skills that you acquire here stay with you. And let's say if you want to start a business 5 years later, 10 years later, 20 years later, these skills remain with you. And you use these skills in the meantime in whatever career you're pursuing. So keep in mind that entrepreneurship does not necessarily translate to startups. It's an important piece of education you go through to build your skill base. Well, today at Geetham, as I said, now we have embraced entrepreneurship. We have invested heavily in entrepreneurship education and building venture development centers across the 3 campuses. We have one in Vizag, one in Bangalore, and another one in Hyderabad coming up shortly in the next year or so. And Smart Ideathon, for which we've all assembled here, is one of the many things that we do in the Venture Development Center. This is an annual event. Obviously, we as Ms. Sridevi just mentioned, we invite applications. We have over 1,000 applications this year. And I'm here to talk about the themes that we adopted and why we adopted those themes. One of the themes is food and health is a theme. So when you invite applications, we want ideas or business ideas to in those themes. Food and health is one of those themes. Sustainable fashion is another theme. The third one is toys for STEM education. And the fourth one is frugal innovation. So the fourth one can cut across all 3 and more. Frugal innovation can apply to any type of innovation, any type of entrepreneurship. The reason we picked food and health, as you probably know, health and well-being is at the very center of all of our lives. Everyone is concerned about our health and well-being. We want to be healthy. We want to live long and healthy. And you also see that there is India, especially. We have the big problem of malnutrition. Every 1 in 3 children is undernourished or not, doesn't grow as well as they should because of lack of access to proper food. And then on the other end, we also have overnutrition. There's too much nutrition that is taken that leads to diseases. We have diabetes. India is the world's global center for diabetes. So it is the highest per capita diabetes is in India. So it leads to those diseases. We're looking at innovative ideas and thereby entrepreneurship ideas that solve some of these problems, that help solve the food, nutrition and health issues. On the sustainable fashion, all of us want to wear nice clothes and look good, so we want to always buy clothes. But you have to also understand that the fashion industry is the worst polluter on the globe. 10% of the carbon footprint is attributed directly to the fashion industry. If you're wearing a nice jean pant, it takes about 10,000 liters of water to make one jean pant. So imagine the amount of impact we are creating on, a negative impact we are creating on this globe. So there should be solutions. All of us innovators should think about solutions that keep these factors in mind and produce products, ideas and products that are sustainable, that don't harm the earth that we live in so badly as they do now. Then we have toys for STEM. STEM education, again, is big. Everyone needs STEM education. And globally, there is, especially not globally, I know about the US numbers, the STEM students who can do math and who have proficiency in reading, that is declining steadily. In India or anywhere else, you can learn better through games and toys, and all of us know that. We love games, we love toys, and learning, using them to learn is a great way of innovating. So we have chosen the toys for STEM for that reason. And frugal innovation, as you all know, we also call jugaad. How many of you have heard the word jugaad? India is big on jugaad. How many of you actually, I promise I won't ask questions, but I'm still asking questions, you should pardon me. How many of us throw away a toothbrush ever? How long do we use a toothbrush? Maybe a couple of weeks, a month, and then you throw it away. But in India, I have not seen a household that throws away a toothbrush. Because we have applications, we have uses for toothbrush after it served its primary purpose. We use that to brush things, clean things up. Women use that to clean jewelry. We have so many uses for toothbrush. So if you take anything, that is jugaad. That is something that you find a product, you have a primary application for it, and you are using innovative methods to put it to different uses. So India is big in jugaad. Because we are forced to live within our means, to make things within our means. If you look at Chandrayaan, that 3 that landed, the entire cost of that project is less than, it's 1/3 of the cost to produce a movie called Avatar. You probably are familiar, have heard this before. So that is what India does, and a number of times you innovate out of a need to innovate, to be frugal, and that frugal innovation can be extended to the world, to global. My colleague here, Professor Ravi Ramamurthy, specializes in that, reverse innovation. How are countries like India innovating and exporting that innovation to advanced countries? So this is happening right now. It's been happening for a long time. So that's why we have picked frugal innovation as another theme. So those are the themes around which applications are sought. We had about 45% of the applications in the frugal innovation space. I'm very, very pleased to report that. So today also you will see a number of teams that are pitching with the theme frugal innovation. Then we had about 31% of the teams in the food and health space. The remaining teams are on the other two spaces. So those are the themes for today, and you will hear those pitches. 8 teams will come in front of you. What I want you to take away from today is there are 8 teams that we have selected, and we call them winners. And among them, we are going to pick a few other winners. In entrepreneurship, there's nothing called winning or losing. All of us are winners. So the teams that did not make it to the finals today, the other 24 teams that traveled here and competed yesterday but did not make it to the finals today, or even the other 70 teams or so, or if you take a 1,000 applications pool, several of them did not make it here. It doesn't mean that they're bad. And these are good. There's nothing called bad or good in entrepreneurship. It is at that time, at that pitch, they did not win. But no, it doesn't mean that they have to go home and not try entrepreneurship ever. This is part of failing and getting up, dusting off, and doing things again. That's part of entrepreneurship. So I want you all to acknowledge that while we celebrate winning, the losers should not feel disappointed. I don't call them losers. They have not made it to the final. So they should also celebrate. They should also go back and continue the entrepreneurial journey. So with those words, I want to end here. Thank you very much. Wish you all the best. I wish the teams pitching here all the best, and have a great one.
Now, I would like to introduce you to our next guest speaker joining us on stage, Dr. Surabhi Gupta. She serves as a manager at Invest India, which is a flagship initiative of the Government of India, intended to build a strong ecosystem for nurturing innovation and startups in the country. Please give her a big round of applause.
We request Mr. Krish to felicitate Dr. Surabhi Gupta. We would now like to invite Mr. M. Shri Bharat onto the stage. Mr. M. Shri Bharat is our president. He established Geetam in 1980 in Visakhapatnam with 3 campuses, 21 schools, and over 23,000 students. Geetam is a dynamic educational institution. He is also the visionary behind Kautilya School of Public Policy in Hyderabad, shaping India's future public leaders.
We now invite our chief guest of today, Mr. Pavan, onto the stage. Mr. Pavan is the co-founder and CEO of Skyroot Aerospace, India's leading space tech enterprise, and a scientist turned space entrepreneur.
We request Mr. M. Shri Bharat to felicitate Mr. Pavan. We would like to request Dr. Surabhi Gupta to share some kind words with the audience.
A very good morning to one and all. I would first and foremost like to thank Geetam, Northeastern University, and entire Smart Ideathon team for curating such an innovating and revolutionary idea for pitching series bootcamp amongst the student entrepreneur. This is my second edition working with the team, and I remember exactly 1 year ago during the finale at Vizag Smart Ideathon edition, there were multiple instances I had goosebumps only by the ideas, the thoughts, and the energy of the studentpreneurs there. I was literally questioning myself, what was I doing at their age? So a huge congratulations to the team for another successful edition. This is primary and most important reason for Startup India to come again to partner with Smart Ideathon for its 3rd edition. And the second important reason for us to come here is the innovative solutions for impact. creating for impact as the major theme of Smart Ideathon year and year again. Looking forward to the next edition as well. Thanks Krishji for asking those questions essentially to the students. That kind of made me realize that amongst the students we have two sets of students. One, the ones that are there for entrepreneurship, for their finales. And the second set, I would say, are the ones who are there for attendance. And there's nothing wrong to be here for attendance. I was there in your shoes once, and I know it's okay to attend lectures, seminars, conference for the attendance purposes. But what I did not do, and you have the opportunity of doing, is being here with an open ear. So what I'm asking you to do is that just for the next 3 hours, while you're sitting here, embrace and absorb that if entrepreneurship can be a way of life. I am not saying that it should be a career option for all of you, but can it be a life option for you? And I'll give you a small case study here. 2 years back, I met this girl, 17 years old then, Seher Taneja. She was telling her life story during one of our events on a Women's Day. So she mentioned that she had no interest in entrepreneurship and innovation, but then she realized that her grandfather was aging and he kind of started losing his speech ability. And to help him, to bring him back to the normal life, she developed a hand glove that was changing sign language into speech. Not only, and obviously this is not a novel idea, but what is interesting here is that she tried and helped her grandfather. And not only did she help her grandfather, but it also supported her in catching her dream, which was getting into a Ivy League, and not only getting into an Ivy League for bachelors, but also backing up a huge amount of scholarship. So my first message for all of you here today is that think that entrepreneurship is not a career option. Think of it as a life option. I think Krishji has also emphasized enough on how it could be a life option for all of you. So I'll move on to my next point very quickly, which is the importance of mentors. So while in my last 3 years working with Startup India, we speak with many startups, budding entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs. When we ask them that what support can government provide you, the two things that usually come up is, firstly, the funding, obviously. The second thing that comes up is the right connections and right mentor support. So if you are starting early in your age, I would urge you to also look for right people early in your age. Geetam, VDC obviously is there with you. Just walk up to them, leverage this opportunity to seek people who could tell you what ideas you're working on. If you want to prototype your solution, who are the right people to talk to? If you want to expand to market, who are the right set of guiders who could give you right guidance? And needless to say, if you are looking for sector specific and mentors over and above that, Startup India as a team is there to back you with your ideas and give you mentors. Last but not the least, I would like to focus upon the paradigm shift that we have been witnessing in the entire entrepreneurship ecosystem in India. In only last 1 decade, 10 years back, the number of startups that we have today, DPIT recognized startups are 1 lakh, touching 1 lakh as of today while we speak. The unicorn numbers are hitting 110 today. All of that was not there 10 years back. What was there? There were a handful of people trying to build a successful business. There were tensed parents who were thinking that hamare bacche ka kya hoga, because he's chosen entrepreneurship as a career line. And there were skeptical fathers thinking that should we marry our daughter to an entrepreneur or not. But that's not the case today. Today, parents, universities, colleges, everyone is supporting supporting. They have more risk appetite, and they are okay if in case you try and you fail. So please leverage that. Government again is also there to support you. Startup India is one such initiative. The incentives the Startup India provide, I'll be more than happy to talk about that online or offline. Anytime, feel free to reach me. Besides that, you have many initiatives. You have Atal Tinkering Lab, you have Innovation Policy by AICT, you have Nidhi by DST. So read through them, make use of them, and if you have any questions there, we are there to support you. That was my last thought on those lines. Congratulations to the top 32 teams and all the best to the top 8 teams. May the best team win. Thank you.
We would now like to request Mr. M. Shri Bharat to come and address the audience.
Thank you for being a part of here, even though some of you may feel that you're forced. Can all the participants in the Smart Ideathon competition, the 32 teams, please raise your hand so that I know where you are? Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for coming here and participating. As the speakers before me said, that think of this, that you're in a movie for the next 2.5 hours. You may like the movie, you may not like the movie, but finish the movie. Is that a fair ask? Yes? Okay. I want to congratulate all the teams that were selected into the top 32 and were invited to come and participate in this competition. I want to congratulate the 8 finalists. Very happy to see last evening that more than half of the people on the stage were women. So good to see women entrepreneurs doing really well. So congratulations to you, and I hope that the future also holds more women entrepreneurs coming into this field and competing. So we have a detailed presentation from our chief guest today, Mr. Pawan. So I was speaking to Pawan and I was trying to glean some information about him. And I was very happy to hear what he shared. How many of you here are computer science engineering students? Most of you. Now here is an interesting insight. So Skyroot, the company that he co-founded, which is building rockets to send satellites into space, he has 280 people working in his company. Can any of you guess how many of them are computer scientists? One of you raise a hand and guess the number. Yeah. I see you. Go ahead. 150. Yeah, you're feeling very good about yourself, but no, it's much lesser. Another guess? It's not 150, it's much lower. Yeah, the woman. Okay, closer, much closer. Yeah. What? No. Okay, let's not be that harsh. He has about 10 computer scientists. So all of you, if you go for an interview to Skyroot, there's about 1,000 people in this hall. He'd probably select 1 or 2 of you. Right, Pawan? Or lesser. So for us as educators, the challenge that we have been facing is all of you, of your own interest, or maybe of your parents' interest, or maybe of your neighbor's interest, will come and say, I want to study only computer science engineering. Now, if he has only 10 computer scientists, who are the rest? Yes, some. What else? Mechanical, yes. I heard aerospace. Yes, aeronautical, aerospace. Do you have civil, Pawan? No, not much. And they have material scientists. So the idea is that, and this is something that this company is something that has raised $70 million over the last 6 years. If you convert that into Indian currency, we're talking about close to 500 crores of money. And I think that's one of the larger fundraisers that any startup has done in India in the last few years. So I want to congratulate Pawan and his team for achieving this. especially now, after all of you must have seen in the news. How many of you have heard of the Chandrayaan landing on the moon? Yes, so he's very hot in the news right now. I think the work that you're doing, and we're thankful to you for agreeing to be our chief guest. And this is a sector that's in everybody's mind today. For the competition itself, this is the second time that we are hosting it, and we're very happy to partner with Startup India and to do this. And in fact, our Bangalore students were lobbying with me yesterday that let's do it in our Bangalore campus next year. So I hope Startup India will believe in us a third time and will be happy to support this competition. And out of the 32 teams, there were 3 teams from Geetam. So all of you first year students, you can be an applicant next year. And out of the 3 teams that made it into the top 32, one of them made it into the top 8. I want to assure all the participants that we had no bias in this. We did not select the one team that made it into the 8. All of the jury members were external. And I think that the idea itself was a good idea. And in the 8 that are competing now, I hope that the best idea and the best team wins the competition. This is exciting times ahead. For all of you students, as you're beginning your academic journey, as Krish Garu mentioned, you will all go through an introductory course to entrepreneurship. It's called, I think, VDC 111 or Venture Discovery. How many of you have begun on that course on VDC? So use this opportunity. In your regular classroom or in many of your classrooms, you will have faculty members who will be throwing knowledge at you. Some of you will absorb and many of you will not absorb. It will go through one year and go out the other. So VDC is not something where knowledge is being given to you. It's an experiential course. We want all of you to start thinking critically. We want all of you to start asking questions. We want all of you to look at the problems around you and see whether you can solve those problems. And if you're able to find solutions to problems, and if you're able to find customers who can pay for that solution, that's a startup. That's an entrepreneurial idea. You can do that by starting your own company. You can do that in your family business. You can do that as an employee if you join any company. So there are many different ways that you can use problem solving for. And I know that we have an exciting competition ahead. I look forward to being a part of it. I'm going to be in and out of this hall for some time. And I really look forward to the presentation that Pawan has for us. I wish all the 8 finalists all the best and may the best team win. Thank you.
We would now like to invite Mr. Pawan to the stage to address the gathering.
So very good morning to all of you. And today I here stand very proud as an Indian belonging to a country which launched, any guess? Chandrayaan 3, a spacecraft that landed on the moon. We became part of the elite 4 countries in the world which landed on the moon, and the first country in the world to land on the South Pole, which has a lot of treasures of scientific data. And I think very proud here. It just happened day before yesterday. How many of you watched it live? How many of you loved it? How many of you felt inspired? I think no words. I think literally we watched it with the entire team of Skyroot. I think it was a phenomenal experience for all of us. And I think really stand proud today on being, being part of this wonderful country which made it happen. And so I'll just start off with a quick journey about, myself and Skyroot over the last few years, and also few learnings from it for all of you, which could be quite useful for you. How many of you are in the first year of college? Amazing, there are a lot of computer science engineers out here, I see. So I think, the future is all yours. And, 65% of India is below 35 years old. And 50% of India is below 25 years old. I think, and this decade is of India, this century belongs to India. I think great wishes to all of you. And also congrats to all the winners and all the finalists, for the competition, and all the best to all of you. So I'll just revert back to my school days. In fact, I used to have like big spectacles at that time. And all my relatives and everybody who comes to my house used to think he must be the school topper. But what actually happens is that I probably am one of the last in the school. It's just basically my spectacles which say that make people think that this guy is a genius. But I was a very bad student at school. And then like up to 8th standard, I still remember like failing in some subjects, and also like getting, around 50 marks in maths, even in 8th standard. So very bad student, I would say, and very dull, bad student up to my 8th standard. Then I changed. My parents thought, nothing is going to work with this guy. They changed my school. Then the teachers there actually did a lot of, found some spark. They thought that there's some spark in this guy. And then they started encouraging me. And I never got so much attention in my life. So I started studying well to retain that attention. And then became, I think, very good at math, science, physics. I really got deep into that, and became one of the, from last few to the first few at school, and then got into an IIT. In fact, I grew up in Vizag. It's great to know like Geetam originates from Vizag. So great to see the journey of Geetam as well. And then went on to join IIT. So it's like got into an IIT and joined as a mechanical engineer because I was very sure I want to work on machines. Very, very sure. I wanted to become a mechanical engineer. Lucky to get into an IIT. So got into IIT Kharagpur, joined as a mechanical engineer. There again, in fact, my parents told me that you get into an IIT, your life is set. So I believed that, and then got into an IIT. And then I thought my life is set, so I stopped studying there also. And then like very bad student at IIT for the first few years. Then there is one some of my professors thought that this guy has a spark, and then started encouraging me again. There is from again last few could go to the first to probably the good grades in college over the last few years. And then I was very sure that during the college, there was a vibe of entrepreneurship. Everybody wanted to build companies, and coming from a middle class background, I also wanted to build a company in my lifetime. Because I knew the kind of independence you get, the kind of impact you can generate, the kind of nation building you can do as a company, building a company in India. So I was very fascinated to build a company and wanted to do a startup straight out of college, but I didn't have the guts to start a company straight out of college. But then my passion is always with machines, and I felt that rockets are the most fascinating, toughest, challenging machines ever built by humans. They defy gravity, go to space, some of the biggest wonders of engineering ever produced. So that attracted me. And in fact, ISRO, the launches of PSLVs, etc., I used to watch on news, and I was very inspired by the kind of journey which ISRO had. And then wanted to join ISRO at that point of time, and very lucky that ISRO came to campus, my campus. ISRO came, and then I had to compete with the best of the minds at IIT Kharagpur. Not being having a very good grades, I was a 7-pointer in college by the time I completed my college. And then luckily got among the 4 people who got selected. I was the only non-topper who got selected at ISRO and joined ISRO as a scientist. And 2012 was the time I joined ISRO as a scientist. I think phenomenal experience. I became part of the largest rocket program ever built in India called LVM-3. It's in fact widely dubbed in the media as the Bahubali rocket. It's a huge, massive rocket. I had the opportunity to work during the last phase of its development. Over the last 6 years, I was part of that project, being part of the first 2 successful missions. And then always that entrepreneurial bug is always at the back, saying, oh, have to start a company, you have to start a company. But I never imagined whether you can start a rocket company. But that thought even did not come to mind, because I'm a rocket scientist and I want to build a company. But the thought of starting a rocket company did not come to me for almost like 6 years. And then suddenly one fine day, it just struck like a lightning and said, can we build a rocket company out of India? Then at that moment when I got the thought, I realized that it's very, very, very difficult, because I was part of the program. I know how complex, how difficult it is, how much capital it needs, how much people it needs, how much talent it needs, how much government support it needs, a lot of, so I immediately thought it's not possible. But still, the entrepreneur bug in me always said, there is some possibility, and started actually reviewing it and, started checking whether it's possible. And then realized that it is actually possible. It's very difficult. A lot of stars need to align to make it happen, but still it is possible. That's when in 2018, that's me with GSLE LVM-3 was the largest rocket built in India. And during that time, as a young engineer at ISRO. And then in 2018, I took the biggest decision of my life, to step out of very stable, very active, very, very comfortable and very appreciative job. In fact, I used to love my job. I used to get so immersed in the rocket tech that I used to literally, even in weekends and nights, I used to just keep studying and learning more out of them. So with deeply immersed, then I took the biggest decision of my life to start a company, rocket company out of India. At the time in 2018, there was no policy. Just imagine, people thought you're mad. There is no policy to even, allow anybody to launch rockets in India. So how can you build a company building rockets in India? So that's what a lot of people laughed at it. Just the thought of, starting a company which has absolutely no policy backing. And then at that time, there was no funding environment in India. There is no private space company which actually raised a significant amount of funds. There is even no fund in India has any thesis. Every fund has a thesis. They have these sectors like, e-commerce, they have sectors like edtech, etc. But space was never part of any fund in India at that time, naturally, because there was no policy allowing that environment. So no policy, and there is no funding environment. And there is, in fact, rocket science is real rocket science, and it needs the real talent, which is mostly available only in the government at that point of time, because only the space program is all about the government at that time. And there was no talent in the private sector. So that's one major challenge. And people used to think that it takes decades to build a rocket, decades to build this tech and then launch a rocket to space. So that was the environment where nothing was there. Nothing seemed right. But still, I think that's what made me take that leap of faith, because in the gut, I felt it is possible. Because, of course, a lot of problems need to be solved, but everything can be solved. And that started with the leap of faith, and literally with nothing in that environment. In fact, we just started with 2 people, me and Bharat, my former colleague at ISRO, and we are really good friends, best friends, and we thought, let's start the company together. And then we started the journey in 2018. And then now we are just in July completed 5 years as a company. And then I think, so new space reforms have been announced. 2018 we started, 2020 during COVID, how many of you remember the COVID period? So it was great fun at home, but of course it was quite a depressing moment for economy. And then at that time the government felt, let's accelerate India's growth with a new set of reforms. And they put space reform as one of the key reforms which country needs, because India has huge potential in space. India over the last 60 years has been built a great space program. We are all proud of what ISRO has done. We have launched to Moon, Mars. We have been the first country to succeed in a Mars mission, the first attempt. We have built huge rockets, huge satellites. I think it's a phenomenal journey, and India felt that let's open it up to the private players. And then at that time, we were just like, a 2-3-year-old startup with just few people. And then the space reforms were announced. And this is with the Honorable Prime Minister during the inauguration of the space regulatory agency called InSpace. And over the last 4 years, I think we have did phenomenal amount of innovation. We test-fired India's first privately built cryogenic rocket engine, completely built with 3D printing and with very futuristic tech. We were building a rocket entirely with carbon fiber, one of the first few in the world. And we have done a lot of great testing. We have signed the first MOU with ISRO to get their support of their test facilities, launch facilities. And by 2022, our team has crossed 200 people. Just from 2 people in 2018, in 2022, we have crossed 200 people. And in fact, we felt when we started off, one of the biggest doubts is, can we raise capital? Because building rockets is not easy. You need to raise hundreds and hundreds of crores. Can we raise capital? Just took the leap of faith, started, and then we raised $68 million over the last 4 or 5 years. Became the largest funded space tech startup in India, and we never imagined 2 to 200 people, 0 to $68 million. And then we won 2 national awards for our contribution to to rocket science, to engineering, and in fact, InSpace, the Space Regulatory Agency, started in 2022 as setting up a great milestone, a great opening for India's space sector. So it's a phenomenal journey of 4 years. And then the biggest event of all have come. In fact, on November 18, 2022, history was made. We became the first ever private company in India to launch a rocket to space. And something very, very interesting about this launch is that we became one of the first few companies in the world to succeed in a rocket launch in the first attempt. And I think this is a very historic milestone, considering that a startup of just 200 people came together, started in a time when there is no policy, when there is no funding environment, persisted through years, built a lot of technology, and then, able to launch something as critical, as complex as a rocket to space, becoming one of the first few companies in the world itself, very less companies in the world, less than 10 companies in the world are able to do such a great feat in the world. And that's, being an Indian company, I think is a proud moment for all of us. And I think this also created a lot of inspiration, a lot of confidence as a company for us at Skyroot as well. And then this is a small video of a little journey of our rocket. This is our test firing of the engines. I think sound, if somebody can switch on the sound. Yeah, so that.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Event number 96 completed.
Yeah, so that was some of the moments from the launch. So it's a rocket which reached space, crossed the 80-kilometer line, and then today we stand as the only company, first company and only company to ever launch a rocket to space, in India, and that's what In fact, after the launch, the Prime Minister Modi, Honorable Prime Minister, said, this launch proves that sky is no limit for youth in the country. And sky is no limit for startups in the country. I think that has been a phenomenal achievement by all of us. In fact, that's our Honorable Minister KTR Garu, who came for in fact, who was kind enough to come and celebrate with us on the success party of the mission on the eve just after the mission. And so that's Mr. Somnath, Chairman of ISRO, and our Space Minister, Dr. Jitendra Singh, who witnessed the launch live at the mission control. And that's Prime Minister Modi and, President of India, great words from them on our launch. I think there was a lot of celebration across. In fact, for almost weeks together, the entire one team was celebrated across the country. That was Skyroot team. Almost 200 people, the kind of effort they made, the kind of spirit they had. I think that has oozed our spirits to the next level. I think it increased great confidence to all of us. And naturally, a lot of appreciation. So we are on the magazine covers. We are everywhere. In fact, recently I was with the Prime Minister delegation along with, President Macron of France, etc. And in fact, we won the Startup of the Year by CNBC. In fact, they only award typically, unicorns in the country. We were probably one of the early stage startups. We ever became the Startup of the Year by CNBC, and then Forbes Leadership Award. And recently I was at the Rashtrapati Bhavan, invited to Rashtrapati Bhavan, among very few companies in India to get invited for the reception for August 15th, Independence Day. I think that's the kind of encouragement we got after the mission. Everybody celebrated it, and in fact, it's a great boost for us. In fact, it inspires us to do more and more over the next few years. Probably maybe land something on the moon in the future as well. So that's the kind of journey we had. And now I'm going to. So what next? So we launched the rocket to space and did it in a record time of 2 years. Became one of the few companies in the world to achieve it in the first attempt. So what next? So this year, we are targeting by the end of the year, probably, we are targeting our next rocket, which is a 7-storied building tall rocket, which will launch multiple satellites to orbit. And that will make us like one of the first few companies in the world to be able to launch satellites to orbit. And more and more launches. Next year, we're planning more launches, and then we'll keep on ramping up the launches. And in future, how many people want to go to space? Yeah, so in fact, the mission statement at Skyroot is in the long term, we want to open space for everybody. And, probably, in the future, we want to create a world where probably each one of you can go for a holiday in space, go and visit other planets. And, probably every student in the world can actually launch a satellite before they graduate. That's the kind of world we imagine, and we have to solve one big problem, that is low cost access to space, building rockets which can become like aircrafts, opening up space for everybody. I think aircrafts have opened up the world for everybody. Rockets will open space for everybody. And space has innumerable resources which can sustain trillions and trillions of people. And as a spacefaring civilization, I think the future is space. And we want to open up the new frontiers, play our role in accelerating its efforts. And I think that's a very exciting future for all of humanity. And we're looking forward to people like you, young talent like you joining this journey. And I would like to just briefly go through what is the message from Skyroot journey, which will be probably very important for all of us. I think the first big message is, I think teachers have a lot of power to shape the future of every student. So the same thing happened to my life as well. So I request all the teachers here to give great attention to your students, and actually they have the potential to change the future. And I think it's very important to build that great professional relationship with every student. I think that's very strong message, in fact, from my life. And I think the second biggest message is always follow your passions. For example, when I was at IIT, almost everybody used to take an IT job, or everybody used to go for a finance job, right? So I felt that, my heart is in machines. I want to build the best, most complex machines in the world. And then at that time in fact, very few people join government jobs straight out of IIT. I took my spirit and they said that my passion is machines. I have to get it, and I want to go to space because that's the most complex arena. And then I took my job in ISRO, and then then that made me start Skyroot and etc. etc. I think that's something which everybody, if you feel that this is your passion, I think please follow the passion, even though everybody else in the world goes in the opposite direction. I think that's very important. And I think fundamentals are the key. The reason why probably I could get into an IIT and get into ISRO, etc. is because I was very sound in fundamentals. In fact, I used to spend a lot of, whatever time I spent, 80% of my time I used to spend in understanding the very fundamentals of either the tech or business or everything. In fact, I think fundamentals are everything. For example, even for example, Dhirubhai Ambani, so he is very sound in business fundamentals. He's not an MBA from Harvard or anything else, right? So it just needs very strong, clear fundamentals in everything, whatever you do, whether it's tech, business, whatever it may be. So I think fundamentals are the key, and that's what actually enabled my journey over the last few years. And always think big. In fact, many people think that if you start a rocket company or something huge for the world, the probability will be failure. In fact, many of the people, when we started Skyroot journey, many people think that the probability of failure will be very high, because extremely complex, needs government approvals, a lot of red tape, a lot of talent need, and very few people in the world succeeded in it, in such attempts in the world before. So naturally the probability, people feel that is very low. But in fact, it's on the contrary. When you actually start something very big, think something very big, start something very big, I think you will have less competitors. And in fact, the world will conspire to make it happen, because people would love to work with you. Investors would love to invest with you. And I think the whole world will support. Governments would love to support you. I think always think big, so we have only one life. Solve the big impact problems. Many people think that let me start small like this, then I divide 5 years, 10 years, and then I start the next big thing. I think that's the wrong approach to have I think straight away you have to hit the big bang, because every year on your life is very important. And I think building every company is a 10-year, 20-year-old journey. I think it's very important to have that perseverance. Always hit the big thing which you think you should create impact on, directly get there, bang on, and the whole world will support you. I think that's one big message from the Skyroot journey. And I think entrepreneur, many people think that, getting a job or going abroad or, doing a PhD, and then, so different people have different thoughts. But in fact, about the best career, but I think according to me, the best career option is entrepreneurship, because it gives freedom. It gives independence. It gives an opportunity to build the country. It gives an opportunity to create employment. In fact, like the impact you can create through entrepreneurship is immense. The satisfaction you get is immense. And I think everybody, should at least think about starting a company if you have not. I think because that is the best career option. If you want money, I think nothing better than entrepreneurship to give money. If you want satisfaction, nothing better, because I think I'm one of the most satisfied people because of the kind of work I do. That's all because of entrepreneurship. And if you want great impact, entrepreneurship is the way to go. So everything you want I think the best career option is entrepreneurship. So please explore if you have not yet explored. And then, of course, entrepreneurship is not for everybody. And in fact, I joined a job before starting a company. So I had 6 years, I was working at ISRO. So if you want to get into an engineering stream, if you want to get into a company, I think space technology is a wonderful platform for all of you. I think it across fields. I think Bharat has described some of the fields like, mechanical, aeronautical, computer science. A lot of different fields of engineering work towards building a rocket. In fact, rockets are autonomous, so they're completely autonomous. It goes at a speed of 8 kilometers per second. You cannot have a remote control like a drone, It has to be automated. Even if you land on the moon, it's completely automated. The landing which you have seen is completely automated. It needs like amazing scientists across computer science, mechanical, aeronautical, aerospace, chemical, across domains. And I think it's a phenomenal opportunity for all of you. And space has just started in India. It's just 2 years since the space sector has been opened up. I think great future for us in the next 10 years. And I strongly suggest exploring space as a career in the future. In fact, we welcome at Skyroot as well, as we expand our teams, we'd love to have few people from Gitam as well. I think that is something to remember when you take up new career opportunities. And then I think to end with, I would say that sky is no limit for youth in the country. Sky is no limit for all of you, and all the best. And for you, and probably you're the future of the country. Thank you.
Now we'll start the pitching session of the finalists. Please be ready to share your ideas.
Good luck. We can't wait to see all of your ideas. We now would like to introduce our grand jury members, Professor Greg Collier, Professor Ravi Ramamurthy, and Dr. Surabhi Gupta.
Professor Greg Collier, Professor of Practice, Northeastern University Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation. Professor Greg is a seasoned business expert turned Professor of Practice at the Northeastern University. He excels in corporate innovation, business models, and sales strategy.
Thank you, sir, for joining us today.
Okay.
Professor Ravi Ramamurthy, a University Distinguished Professor, International Business and Strategy, Director, Northeastern University Center for Emerging Markets, to also IIM Ahmedabad gold medalist and Harvard DBA holder. He's a global authority on emerging market strategy and innovation. Thank you, sir, for joining us today. I would now like to request Mr. Justin Joseph to come onto the dais and give instructions for the pitching session.
Welcome to the grand finale of Smart Ideathon 2023. Dear esteemed members of the jury, we are pleased to have you here with us. Thank you for consenting to be the panelists for today's finale pitch session. This year, we had received over 1,000 applications, and out of them, 32 teams managed to cruise through to the semi-finale round yesterday, and 8 teams have earned their place in the grand finale today. The ideas are spread across 4 themes: frugal innovation, toys for STEM, sustainable fashion, and food and health. Now I'll walk you through the do's and don'ts for the evaluation process. There are 8 criteria in the scoring sheet: problem, solution, product or service and value proposition, market analysis, competition, business model, team and key stakeholders, and overall presentation. The cues for each criteria are provided on page number 2 within the grading booklet. You are requested to review the pitches and provide a numeric score for each of the criteria for each presentation. The total panel score for a team will be considered as the final score. You may provide scores in intervals of 0.25. It need not be an integer value only. For example, it could be 5, 5.25, 5.5, or 5.75. Each presentation will be of 10 minutes, followed by a 5 minutes Q&A by the panel. We request the panels to kindly confine the Q&A within 5 minutes. After 8 minutes, the timekeeper will give a warning, and after 10 minutes, it will be a hard stop. We strongly encourage each of the panelists to provide comments for each presentation. The purpose of this feedback is to provide an educational opportunity for the team. The feedback is not part of the scoring, but may influence the ranking decisions in case of a tiebreaker. We have prizes in 5 categories: the winner, the runner-up, the best social impact business idea, the best woman-led entrepreneurship idea, and the Leben Johnson People's Choice Award in memory of our first VDC director, Dr. Leben Johnson. This award will be decided on the basis of an audience poll. After each pitch, a QR code will be displayed on the screen and the audience will have to scan and provide their vote. The teams are not allowed to present the physical versions of their prototypes. And finally, we request the jury members to please mention the team name, the team number, and the theme in the grading booklet. Thank you very much and all the very best.
The sequence at which the startup teams will be presenting is: number 1, the fashion brand; number 2, AgroDroid Private Limited; number 3, Neurope Tech Solution; number 4, Coamt; number 5, Tech Ready; number 6, Agro India; number 7, Polyfueler; and the last one, Medicandy Anti-Diabetic Convenient Food. I would request the first team, the fashion brand, to please come up and present. The second team, AgroDroid Private Limited, please be ready after their presentation. Thank you.
Namaste everyone. We are the fashion brand, aiming to build H&M for sustainable fashion. Fashion, it is one of the most polluting industry in the world. You see, to grow cotton for just one cotton t-shirt, you require 2,700 liters of water. And 35% of total microplastic pollution comes from fashion industry alone. And there's nothing innovative being done in this industry. We have been wearing same cotton and synthetic apparels since centuries. And third, value for money in this industry is seriously lacking. We will be discussing more about this point later in the pitch.
So how do we tackle it?
Well, the answer is our magic blend. A blend made up of banana and bamboo fiber in 50-50 ratio. Why we do this? Because first, it's really good for environment. Banana fiber comes from stem of banana trees, which is an agricultural waste. And bamboo fiber consumes 1/3 of water compared to cotton. And they both have significantly less carbon footprint. But they have some unique properties too, like banana fiber is known for its softness and antibacterial properties, and bamboo fiber is also known for its moisture wicking properties, and these both properties also complement each other and result in a blend of really premium qualities. For example, a t-shirt made from our fabric will be silky soft, will be UV protective, will be very breathable, will have antimicrobial properties, and because of that, it will be anti-odor too. It's so good. We both are wearing our own products right now. Well, remember the value for money point? Let's discuss it. In this illustration, on x-axis, I have price, and on y-axis, I have plotted quality and comfort. At lowest price and lowest quality comes synthetic t-shirts. Then comes 100% cotton t-shirts. But the problem starts when we talk about branded t-shirts. They are still 100% cotton, but are priced really high just because of their brand value. This was what I was referring to when I said value for money was lacking. But our t-shirts are of much higher quality thanks to our fabric. And they are also very affordable too. At just 999 rupees price point, we have covered everything from fabric cost to miscellaneous cost. And we are still walking away with decent profits. Market size in India. For TAM, we considered all the urban households because they will be the most aware market. For SAM, we targeted all the rich and upper middle class of urban households, keeping our price point in mind. And for SOM, surveys and researches said that 64% of such households were willing to pay more for sustainable products, making our SOM to be $1.28 billion. And all these data is from census 2011. So actual market will be much bigger right now. So how do we work?
As we all know, Maharashtra is one of the largest producers of banana and bamboo. So we have collaborated with fabric manufacturer based in Thane, which will be providing us the fabric. We also collaborated with the manufacturer who will be converting those fabric to the desired apparels. We got a team of designers from NIPT and design schools who are currently working on our designs for our catalogs. We are also marketing ourselves online and will be launching through various e-commerce platforms. We are also working on a tech-enabled feature, Vuitton, the virtual try-on, which we'll be discussing later in the pitch. We come from Varanasi. Varanasi is a city of artisans. So we have met various artisans and tailors and even showcased our product to them. They were all amazed by the quality and comfort that our fabric provided. We have also set up a stall in our own college where 300 to 400 people visited our stall, and even 190 gave the pre-orders for it. We also showcased our product to Vaishali S. She was one of the first Indian women to present at the Milan Fashion Week. And we also showcased it to the G20 delegates also.
So what's next?
Next, we will be launching our product initially in our college first, because first, there will be no marketing cost. Second, we have already collaborated with various clubs of IIT BHU to launch their merchandise through us. Third, there will be no requirement of heavy designers, as we will be getting initial designs from them itself. Fourth, it is a closed community, so getting the feedback will be much faster. Then later on we will be expanding our catalog and launching in Tier 1 and Tier 2 cities through different channels. We always wonder while buying clothes online, like, will it look good on us or will it fit? Worry not, we got Vuitton, the first virtual try-on, which will enable our customers to try clothes virtually on them and will also predict the size correct for them. This is the early prototype what we are trying to build. The world needs us, as we have already told, the banana fiber is produced from banana stem, which is an agricultural waste. Our fabric consumes 60% less water than cotton, which saves us 13 trillion liters of water. Our fabric also produces 30% less carbon footprint, which results in saving 800 million tons of carbon released. It is also biodegradable. We are the best team, as we got the right people, right mentors. We really wanted to showcase our product to you, but due to the restriction, we are unable to do so. So we have curated a video of our journey and the mixed responses of people trying our clothes.
Hi, myself Akshat Srivastava. I am pursuing mechanical engineering from IIT BHU.
Hello, my name is Akshat Rastogi. I am pursuing pharmaceutical from IIT BHU.
अरे थोड़ा सा संकट मोचन आए थे हम, फंड्स लेकर जा रहे हैं संकट मोचन आके। हनुमान जी भी लाइक ओ तुरंत
These are the products we showcased. Try on college stalls.
There's a moment in your bones when the fire takes over. Blood is running, hearts beating, as the battle gets closer. They can say what they want now, 'cause we'll be screaming now. We can be.
These are the raw reaction of people touching our clothes. It was a hostel room. We was from. Thank you.
Thank you.
Akshat and so one